very, well, the exact same draft again, right? Lee Sin first pick coming through from RNG. There's the LEona coming through for JDG. And we have seen the Jayce locked in alongside this in the last game for JDG. Do they want to go towards that again?
We'll have to wait and see. Is RNG waiting along to see what exactly they want to go for. I think the graphic is messing up just a little bit. RNG did in fact do their 3 bans, and it's the exact 3 bans they have put out so far in this series on the blue side, and they did go towards that Lee Sin first pick. And now with the LEona locked in, what do JDG want to find themselves with? Where do they want to go from here? We might see exactly when to go for. It might be a little longer till we figure it out. Yep, there is a problem with the graphic. I think the graphic just had a little bit of a moment, so we should be able to see exactly what goes on. It looks like the teams are still working their way through picks and bans. We'll wait to see exactly what way it works out, but I still like the Lee Sin priority. I still love the LEona priority from both sides. I think RNG and JDG have shown they are very, very good with it, and they're going for the exact same drafts right now. It's a run-it-back of Game 2.
Yeah, and I mean, the big question here is Renekton, question mark, ban here from RNG, making sure you can actually go towards that Camille if you want to, because we talked about this pretty much at length already. When you've got so much range in this JDG composition, you need to find ways of getting in on top of it. Now, unfortunately, we weren't able to do so last time with the Camille, but with that Nidalee ban, at least taking away some of that range capability from Kanavi, and also just putting him in a pinch, right? We saw a lot of jungle bans already with the Xin Zhao, everything else, so you will have to see JDG going back towards some of these more pocket-orientated picks, and it is going to be that Graves that we've seen from Kanavi before.
Very important to notice, they instead of banning away the Renekton, they ban away the Nidalee, so they're recognizing the AP poke jungle was a lot of the issues they had to dealing with, to moving forward into the enemy pathway, to moving into a position where they could contest some of these objectives. And this time around, RNG, they're not looking for the 1v1, they're not looking to try and get the sideways going, they're just looking for a big old tank in that top side. Dr. Mundo here for his appointment.
Feels like this is just a case of, right, you couldn't try and play it through side lanes, let's just run it at them. Let's just try and have this Mundo where, cool, we've got the Twisted Fate to set up the engages, and then Mundo to absorb all the poke that's coming our direction so we can actually get that gap closer. Now, we're also looking at the Sett going to be coming in for Ming in that support role as well, so again, more follow-up, but I kind of like what JDG have, to be honest. Like, you still got an incredibly strong front line, you got a lot of damage that can come out, and for RNG, your main source of damage is going to be this poke Varus, which never really spells good news for me. So I'm kind of curious about the damage sources on RNG. Now, that being said, Mundo's a little bit silly. Mundo does do a lot of damage, and I've seen him solo out people like Ziggs in these fights. So that could be your kind of your other damage source here, but certainly if you don't have Xiaohu in a position where he's actually in a good spot, it feels like this is a relatively low damage source on RNG, unless maybe we get that lethal tempo and on-hit Varus, but I'd be surprised to see it.
Honestly, I think right now you're looking at it. The one thing I will put as a caveat to the Mundo build, Xiaohu was the one to build Divine Sunderer with the Sterex Gauge, like more of a bruiser type of the Mundo style. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm not saying it's a guarantee that they're going to go for it, but we'll see what way it does end up working as both teams are locked and loaded. We didn't even get time to really talk about it, but the Ornn locked in for Zoom. So again, he's saying, cool, you don't want the 1v1, I don't want the 1v1. I'm going to pick a tank team fighter just like you, but I have a little bit more hard engage.
And that's the thing, is that it's about having that to deny the engage from this RNG side. Because yes, Mundo can tank up all the CC because he's got that go where he pleases, he can tank up all the damage, but the backline that's teetering in behind him ain't going to be so lucky. And that's where you can see this, like Ornn ripping through the backline. Mundo's got to pause while he collects his thoughts with everyone else, and then they can start to chug forward again. So it's about slowing it down, buying space for that backline, and especially if you've got an Ornn in the front line who is able to bounce off these walls, start to put up like his Q just in the middle of RNG as they try to advance, it actually becomes pretty hard for RNG to get into the right spot to close onto this JDG side.
Something that is very stupid of me, but it always just annoys me, is when I see the Mercedes car and that logo just roll up. He doesn't move. The tires don't move. It's not like it's driving in. It's just literally like PowerPoint presentation.
Don't ruin the magic.
Yeah, I know, but it gets to me, man. It's just such a stupid thing that just triggers me so much. But nevertheless, we are coming into the final game of this best of 3 RNG versus JDG. Winner could have some big implications coming into the latter half of the split. There is only a handful of games left per team, and every win counts, to quote some of the best in LEC.
And especially for RNG, like trying to continue their 5-win streak here is going to be wonderful for them. We talked about trying to get to that 11 wins as the max they can get, but that would shoot them right the way up in that playoff bracket. And for JDG, they're kind of sitting in a similar story, right? 2-loss streak coming in for them now. They're not in the best of spots sitting. Well, they're in an alright spot at 7th, but 7-5, a loss here would put them in 7-6. And when that battle for the playoffs from 10th all the way up until 3rd place is crucial when you need to get these wins. Like, it is so close in those spots.
If you're wondering where is the EDG versus WE game, the return of Clear Love, we will be bringing it to you as soon as this game finishes. Of course, it is in Xi'an. We are in Shanghai as of right now, so gotta wait until we finish up this series and we can jump all over the world and get ourselves back in time for that. So do not worry, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be bringing you full coverage of that once we are able to catch up. On RNG now, this is a little bit of a different pathing from Wei. Obviously, we do normally see him start in the bot side, path up towards top, and maybe get something going, but recognizing that the Mundo is just not really going to be able to help him or facilitate him in that endeavor, so he has to try and change things up.
Yeah, also just, you know, where his priority is, as he said, is going to be that bot side. Gala going to be able to shove in. You can see they've already got the push in the wave. Ming as well.
Ooh. Using the flash, gaining the flash of Loken, and that's a win-win because you still have the Hex flash now on the Sett.
And now can try to put pressure on it. They need to try and collapse this 3rd wave, though, to get the bounce back if they want to try and threaten with wave. But you can see already Kanavi's just like, hey, I've cleared bot side. I'm just going to come for a quick gank in the bot.
Oh, but they're going to go for a quick gank in the mid before it can all happen. And that's going to be first blood for Wei. Can they answer it back in this bot side? We can see Gala trying to get away from the end of the line, but it is going to be his end of the line as he is just kind of kiting between these minions, making sure the auto attacks don't go down. He just couldn't do it enough. 2 kills for Kanavi. And that's a great response here for JDG.
And 2 early ganks that neither team expected. Like, we're sub 3 minutes. Wei goes to the level 2 gank mid, catches out Yagao, but Kanavi double trouble for RNG in the bot lane. Manages to finish off both members, now gets pushed into that bot side. Saves a lot of time for Loken and just makes him a hell of a lot safer, especially when that flash is down. But we're going to get the replay here. Like, Ming had already tried to trade really aggressively far forward, but not able to get the true damage onto LvMao, means he can't finish him. Gala's playing dance around these minions, knowing that Kanavi can't auto-attack him, but not able to escape away, and Kanavi picks up the double.
Double trouble in the bot lane there for RNG. They lose both their lives and they lose the ignite from Ming. So still kept the summoners onto Gala. So it's still very safe in his own right should they get caught out again. But now with that pressure that was on the bot side, we can see Wei recognizing you only did your bottom half of your camps. We know you're going to go for a reset, so I'm going to take away some camps.
Yeah, we should be able to get this red buff, but we'll have to escape away after that. You can see Kanavi is just here. Actually going to go towards his Krugs first, so Wei will escape away out, but I would be surprised if he tries to stick around for more.
Oh, well, now he knows. The 2 of them now recognizing that the both junglers on this top side. There is a ward as well. Just trying to see if he can catch out Wei. Wei might use this as an opportunity to steal away some more camps because he knows exactly where the mid laner is. He knows exactly where the top laner is, and the jungler shouldn't be able to contest.
Yeah, has spied as well to steal away the chickens, so manages to get a good amount of them, maybe be able to finish them off. So nice job here from Wei, but you do have to be careful, right? Because if Yagao shoves in this mid wave, you can have the full contest on this bot side of the jungle for Wei, especially with JDG's bot lane having control here as well.
You can see now that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're just trying to get it to crash up. Just equal out. Good accelerated soft blast as Cryin does have a gold card locked and loaded, but Kanavi think he'll recognize that it's not really feasible for him to go for the invade, especially considering you can see Cryin pathing towards that river.
Yeah, it does hop over though, so still might be looking for the Krugs here, or at least something to get himself back. Hasn't been spotted.
Oh, he has not been spotted just yet, but he does know that Scryer's orb has been popped, so he's going to be able to steal away some Krugs. And this is some solid Snake, Metal Gear Solid stuff right now. Both sides not willing to fully engage on each other, but they want to try and get as much as they possibly can. Now with Gala and Ming roaming up, they now recognize that Kanavi is here. I don't think they want to take that fight, though, with the High Noon Quiver picked up for Kanavi. He's still very, very powerful.
I still think, though, this is a win for RNG. I'm pretty sure that's the level 1 Krugs for Wei, so you're only kind of cycling them, and Wei's going to be pretty happy with that. And look at the difference in the CS score there. I mean, you are a camp up as a Lee Sin against Graves. That's a miracle.
Oh, it is a miracle, but it looks like you're going to need a miracle on this bot side. JDG, LvMao trying to see if he can get himself out of this one, but it's Loken. The Destiny Gate has been used, and he has got nowhere to go, no hope of escaping, and they're going to be able to gift that kill over to Gala. Exactly what you want to be seeing with that first Destiny Gate.
And this is where RNG are actually playing obviously a very different style from what we traditionally see. Not playing towards the top, but still making these plays happen with Cryin. And Cryin will still get back towards the mid lane, not even going to lose out anything. And it feels like JDG, although we saw them doing a great job of putting pressure onto RNG, shutting down these early map plays, it ain't happening this time around.
Not today, Satan. RNG making the moves around, making sure they're getting the priority and putting the Ziggs behind. You know, you're able to get this Varus ahead, able to put him into a position where the kill pressure is very, very real. Then the Ziggs just doesn't have the wave clear. The flash engage with the Chains of Corruption, the follow-up with the Sett. There's just so much you have to be so careful of. And now Kanavi gonna see if he can try and steal away this blue buff, but needs to be a bit careful. Ming and Cryin are in the vicinity.
Yagao now just moved across with LvMao, so this is where Kanavi can try and go aggressive. Ornn has moved first, but the camp is already gone.
Already taken away. Cryin will not get that one. It was secured by Wei, who's still yet to hit level 6. And now Kanavi here with Zoom, just seeing if he can get some sort of pressure onto the corporate Mundo, but he's too smart. He's too shrewd for any kind of shenanigans with the jungler today.
Yeah, you can see there now Wei just hitting that level 6, so keeping pace majoritively with Kanavi, but still wants to see if he can make a play happen in this top side.
Oh, I love this. Oh, I love this. He hasn't been spotted just yet. Now Kanavi still doesn't know he's there. LvMao is here, but Yagao is in a lot of trouble. He's going to try and get himself away, but I don't think he can. That was just so good from Wei. Solid Snake, Metal Gear Solid. This game has been fantastic.
I mean, finding just the perfect line to get in behind his opponents. And, I mean, pretty much everywhere else was covered, right? You assume you're safe. Kanavi's just standing over at those raptors. There's no way anyone can come from that angle, especially when you've got LvMao standing in the bush. But they managed to make the pick. And again, this is Wei coming out on top. And Kanavi, although he's getting that level, or, well, not even really getting the CS advantage, and he's not really getting the kill advantage, there's not a huge amount that this Graves has been able to do.
Yeah, you are looking to try and heavy farm with the Graves. Is very, very good at it. And he will start up the Rift Herald. LvMao is in the vicinity, as is Ming. So Wei just trying to play a little bit more aggressively. Gold card is available. Destiny not quite there just yet. But look at that burst damage. Wei, tick, tick, tick. Boom! He goes down. And that's enough for LvMao to secure that kill. It may mean that the Rift Herald does end up being reset, but JDG should be able to take it back.
Gala's running here. They are trying to sprint up towards this contestant. LvMao's low. Xiaohu getting some good poke off.
You know, they're turning back up towards this top side. The Rift Herald resets. There's LvMao taking a briefcase to the face. They are going to get the CC out of Xiaohu as he does absorb that one. But JDG, they get a kill, but they don't get the objective. And that's because of, like you said, they did have Gala rotating back up and was able to cover for the side of RNG.
And now they've got control of this mid lane. They've got Lee Sin who's just respawned. RNG get control of this Rift Herald. So again, we're kind of seeing, look, yes, Kanavi got that double kill on the bot side, but the three kills have gone over with Wei being involved in all of them. Objectives going their way. The farming jungle hasn't really got ahead for Graves, and this is why we've seen Graves fall out of favor. The camps just don't spawn fast enough for you to just run around the map, invade everywhere, and take them all. It's a much slower paced jungle that can find these equal moments when you just play towards the lanes.
And Dagda, I'm gonna pick your brain. Xiaohu going with the Iron Spike Whip. He's got himself moving towards that Divine Sunderer. I'm curious to see, what do you see as the big benefits of this versus a tank build?
It will be, I'm assuming it's the Stride Breaker, like Divine Sunder doesn't
have
excuse
me, yes, you're right. Sorry, Stride Breaker.
So, the big thing here for the Stride Breaker is, look, you still managed to get this insane slow off. You got a 40% slow. I know it is the nerf version, still stupidly strong. You can very quickly close that gap as Mundo as well, like with your cleavers and with everything else. And the attack speed steroid that you get off your E is incredibly strong. Like, you can 1v1 anyone essentially on JDG side, apart from maybe the zoom if you can get on top of them. So it gives you the opportunity then to still build incredibly tanky, but have this more kind of bruiser-esque style and allowing you to stick to your target really well and not give them the opportunity to escape.
Xiaohu as well with the Iron Spike Whip just took 3 tower plates, was left on the turret for 30 seconds and took 3 tower plates by himself. It's Mundo doing enough on his own. You don't need to pile in all the resources that we've seen RNG do so often. That means it's about 1,000 gold lead for RNG at the 10-minute mark, just underneath the 11-minute mark. Wei still has the Rift Herald available to him, and I wouldn't mind seeing them maybe go for something on bot side, get a kill, turn that into a dragon, or excuse me, not a dragon, and turn that into a tower, and just try and accelerate this Varus a little bit more.
I mean, it's definitely the best spot here. We talked about, hey, look, apart from Xiaohu, who is obviously going for this Strikebreaker build, I think we'll have Gala as your main port of action here. He needs to be a big carry for this squad, so getting whatever resources you can into this guy are going to be pretty crucial for RNG. Could also be looking to maybe try and, like, use that to crack open mid lane and then try and get Cryin out onto the map. Like, if you can create this long lane, it makes it a little bit easier for Gala to actually sit in mid, have Cryin play towards him then instead, and try and create these plays.
And this is good here from Ming, recognizing that if he can get the vision down, they should be able to guess the Kanavi is on the top side. They did have LvMao and Yagao in that mid lane, but with Rift Herald now on top side, this tower's dead. There's nothing they can do. They just take the guaranteed tower right here, right now. Kanavi gonna jump in on top of Wei, but I just don't think there's any way you can defend this right now, and that's just going to be a very good early tower take here from RNG.
I mean, the more things change, the more they stay the same, right? Xiaohu's still going to get his top lane tower for himself, but I think the big difference here is like, okay, we're going to be seeing mostly a 1-4 kind of style from RNG is Xiaohu just trading heavily with Zoom, with Cryin playing off towards these side lanes. So I don't actually mind any of these side lane turrets down, as long as it opens up for Xiaohu to still play aggressive towards the mid lane or towards Dragon.
Or towards Dragon. Cryin does not have a lot of mana, but they can jump straight in. That's a fantastic face breaker there from Ming on this set. They will get the Mega Inferno Bomb down. Gala in a little bit of trouble, but you just can't really get on top of him. TP is being committed. That will be the zoom on this Ornn, trying to get in onto the pit. He's looking for Cryin and jumps him straight in onto Kanavi, but Kanavi now finds a golden statue as they finally take down Gala. It is a trade up for RNG, but they still lose their AD carry.
A lot of kills going over their way, and Xiaohu's still in the top lane. He didn't TP down, so might get another tower for himself here. That AD buff that we talked about off of, our steroid off of his E, the Strikebreaker as well. Like, he hurts these towers quite a lot.
He just took half the HP of the tower. This is a split push Mundo right now. I wonder if this is going to become the norm in this particular build, because he just feels like he's got so much more proactivity.
Yeah, I mean, you can do so much, and even your wave clear is pretty obnoxious just because you can get that AoE cooldown off every 12 seconds. But you see here, Yagao, yes, you don't need Cryin to have mana because they just instantly flash onto him, get the kill. Great ultimate from Ming. Yoinks LvMao into the pit. So he's stuck, he's done for. And unfortunately, I actually thought we were going to get the headbutt from Zoom straight onto Gala, and Gala's panicking. You can see the fear in that man's eyes as he's running back and forth the pit, but instead they end up trying to commit for Cryin. They don't get Cryin, but they will get Gala in the end.
I mean, great Dragon's Rage kick to come out from Wei, just separating Kanavi away from his mid laner, keeping him safe and alive, and that's 100% kill participation for Cryin on this Twist of Fate. Now has the Zhonya's completed, so went for that, foregoing the Everfrost. And I actually really like this adaptation, mainly because it just sets you, there's no real magic damage that you're really looking to go against. It's all AD from the Ornn, from the Graves, from the Jayce. Yes, the Ziggs will be able to poke you down, but magic resistance or even tank, health won't really do much against that. So, like the adaptation, like that he's just kind of going for it, and it was something that he was missing in last game.
The only thing I will say is, yeah, I 100% agree with all that. I just want to see him topside. Like, you've got a dragon that's about to spawn in 30 seconds. Xiaohu will reset, but I would have preferred to see Cryin actually pressure on the top side, because you can see JDG have already rotated their teleport user up to the top side, so they know they can still contest dragon. Whereas for RNG, I mean, they could just be looking to give this up and have Xiaohu continue to put pressure onto that top lane turret, but with Yagao there, it becomes really difficult to do that.
We'll see. 13 seconds till that objective spawns. JDG just clearing out the vision, as are RNG. Both sides trying to get priority in bot and in mid. But you can see in the top side there, Xiaohu just 1v1ing. He's 1v1ing him. He's straight up 1v1ing him. Oh, didn't quite able to land the briefcase on him, but that's going to be top tier 2. That's effectively 2 kills of gold going over to this Mundo.
And you can see there, I mean, he even has to demolish to try and finish it off, so there's just so much damage that's coming through. I can't believe he's able to dive him. He's got a stride breaker.
It's just so difficult to burn through this health bar. It is going to be the JDG Dragon taken, so it is a trade. And then for the third game in a row, we get ourselves a Cloud Soul. Dagda not really living up for the RNG. Feels like we got ourselves a Sett Soul today. But RNG just playing so well of not losing much while still gaining a lot.
I can't believe Xiaohu there.
Strikebreaker, man.
And look, Yagao as well. Look, he's 0-3. He's not exactly the best of spots, so nice job by Xiaohu to realize. So yes, Dragon goes JDG's way, but turret pressure top in RNG's favor. Now you get this next Rift Herald, and this is definitely going mid lane. Like, the second you get that mid lane turret down, Xiaohu becomes even more obnoxious to deal with, where he's able to put himself bot side. He can put pressure on towards that bot lane turret. You can go and group with them. And I thought we'd see a 1-4 coming through from RNG, where they'd be like, okay, well, hell, we've got this Twisted Fate. Let's just try and look for picks where Yagao's got to go deal with this Twisted Fate in the side lane. But I wouldn't be surprised now with just how Xiaohu is ahead, that they just stick him and continuously in a side lane and still look for picks with Cryin, but just take Zoom out of the equation. He's the only one that can really tank up that CC.
Look at his items. He's gone for a Ravenous Hydra. Like, he's going, or the Tiamat, excuse me. Yeah, Titanic Hydra. He's got himself a full split, but no one can deal with him. I'm looking down the line. No one can actually 1v1 him with these items. Not even the Ornn.
Oh, Xiaohu, I love it. I love the fact we get Mundo and still Xiaohu's like, well, I'm a split pusher. I like, what do you expect?
But I still need the resources.
I need to play side lanes. Yes, yeah. I am the carry. I have a damage percent that I have to live up to, damn it.
It's just no matter what he plays, no matter where in the team you think he should slot in given the champion, he is just going to prove you wrong. And you've got the Ornn coming up against this, but it's just going to be soaking up the waves, and now Xiaohu could find himself just pushing up, getting deep vision, maybe looking for a teleport flank, and you have to respect it. You can't ignore him. Normally we say when it comes to the Mundo late game, you just ignore him and move away. You can't ignore him.
No. And look, I think the funniest thing about this is that, like, sometimes you see, like, the Mundo come through and you're like, oh yeah, well, you know, this is where you take a backseat of Xiaohu, you don't get the resources. You still get the resources here, and when you look at, like, Xiaohu as a top laner, he has the third highest damage percent for a top laner on any team. Like, this guy has 27% of his team's damage, and even when he has things like Mundo, he's still going for it.
Oh, Kanavi just gets himself over the wall. Did not lose his flash, but because of all the vision that you're able to garner with the Destiny Gate, does mean that Xiaohu takes himself another turret. And this split push Mundo is just goes where he pleases. Is impossible to deal with now for JDG. I don't think that even if it would get to 6 items, anyone can deal with him 1v1.
Now, for the fans who are watching, I feel like this is more of a response to the Zoom Ornn pick. Like, Ornn isn't going to be able to get through Mundo, and you still get this super strong split push that can literally ignore the Ornn underneath the tower because you're just not going to deal damage to him. So I think this is not a build that I would say, you know, go try and solo queue, go wild with it. It definitely, if you end up against in this tank v tank matchup, this is something you can go towards. But if you end up in a situation where you need to be the primary tank for your team, or you're not actually in a position where you've got the opportunity to just stay in split push all game long, I wouldn't follow up on this. But I love this idea from Xiaohu, where he's like, I know I'm not under pressure. I'm not going to lose a 1v1 at any time against Zoom. I can take towers easily, just ignore Zoom the entire time, and then we can still play 1-3-1.
Just such a smart build path here. You know, welcome to the LPL. Take a look around. Any champion and any build can be found, and it's just so good here. And gets himself the Titanic Hydra, has the Strikebreaker, and now can still build tanky. Can still build towards a Thornmail. Can still build to actually no, never mind. He's got a dagger. I don't know what he's building. Who knows? Who knows? I'm just gonna stop asking. I'm just gonna wait and see.
Definitely a Phantom Dancer. Extra movement speed. You can chase down those members fast. I mean, this is just nuts. Like, I love this. This is great. But again, like, you kind of hit on it there. Like, I love seeing the LPL because we do have so much creativity. I mean, we even got 2 of the guys that are doing in this game, right? Xiaohu is one of them. LvMao as well was a guy who just created a Bard meta last year because he's like, this pick is stupid. It's really, really good, and I'm really good at it. So I'm just going to play Bard. We saw him the last day where he's playing this, like, he was against an Ezreal playing Sett support, so he went for Predator Sett. Like, he's got a couple, like, a ton of these things where you're constantly thinking about, hey, what is actually the best for this situation? Not just like, oh, well, this is what the book says to do, and I'm going to go by the book.
And that's exactly it. It's the innovation. It's the evolution, if you will. It's not just saying, I have this, therefore I should do that. But as I say, they're going to commit the TP, flash forward, they get themselves the lockdown onto Loken, and he has to flash himself away. But here comes the damage. Mundo has joined the party. He's forcing everybody away by himself. And that's a fantastic showstopper to stop everything from Zoom. This team fight is done. Dusted. JDG, no hope. RNG looking good.
And they are just going to finish off JDG. Zoom will get away from the fight, but he's looking, what happened? Mundo tore us apart. Cryin set us up for failure because he was just consistently landing the CC onto key targets. And Ming as well, taking Zoom completely out of the engagement, lets RNG have a field day. Now we get the barn for RNG. Now we get to see Mundo do even more than he pleases. And RNG are firmly in control. But you're going to see it here, right? Good amount of poke landing from Loken. Destiny in from Cryin. Might actually play the Damwon skin, I just realized as well. But manages to get in on towards Cryin as well. Look at the setup. Like, Loken has nowhere to go. And then Xiaohu TPs in, finishes off Loken, turns towards Yagao as Cryin gets another crucial gold card on towards that pick. Wei finishes him off, and you're like, well, where's the damage? Oh, it's Kanavi? Cool, he's the next to fall. They are literally working their way just expertly through every single carry that is on JDG's side. Now Zoom.
Oh, he's in so much trouble. He has no mana, he has a flash, and he's still very tanky, but the rest of JDG are off in the wings. I don't know if you want to fully commit to this one. Zoom, though, taking a lot of punishment and will eventually fall. The only man to survive that last engagement does end up being taken down. What's been happening? TS in the mid lane, he's just flip pushing. He's got the Baron buff.
So they do decide to go and collapse on towards Xiaohu. Go for this 1-4. Okay, LvMao.
LvMao gets caught in by the chain of corruption. They're going to land the piercing arrow as well. He tries to use a solar flare, but there's the briefcase right into the back of the head. Get the hell out of my office. You are no longer employed by my company as RNG. They're just tearing them apart, Dagda. There's nothing that JDG can do. There's too many threats.
I did not expect to be saying split push Mundo OP when it came into today's game. He's going for a wit's end. I was looking to wait and see what this is going to be. He's going for attack speed Mundo with Titanic Hydra. It's now a thing. May your solo queue be welcome, and I'm very, very sorry for all of you.
I'm not. I love the LPL. I'm loving the innovation to get the tier 3 and the inhibitor in the bot side. Here we go. We're going to try and see if they can get an engage. But again, Wei just disengaging Zoom. He hasn't been able to get his ult off in the last 2 fights. And now the fight can really begin. Sett will be traded 1-for-1. Wei in a little bit of trouble, but has got himself the Sonic Wave to get himself out. The tier 3 in mid is still alive, but you still have Baron for a minute. You can still go for this.
I mean, they will be able to just turn and just control everything. You've already got all the wards that are down. They're going to be able to continue to keep this pressure up. You've got that bot turret down. Mid is not left standing for long. And again, you can just go towards this 1-4 if you want to. Xiaohu play front line. You're going to have Cryin pushing that top lane, and you just fall back towards that dragon when it spawns in 3 minutes time. I mean, there's just nothing you can do here as JDG.
It's just a great wit's end has been finished now for this Mundo. Xiaohu in full split push mode, and I'm lost for words. It's a 9,000 gold lead, or about 8.5. It's 3 dragons in favor of JDG, but it's a Cloud Soul. Nothing to be laughing about or smiling about, really. And I don't think you get another dragon pit. I don't think you're able to get near this pit anymore. And speaking of getting anywhere near this, Kanavi wants to get the hell away from all of what is happening here. He will fall to Wei. 5-1-5 on this Lee Sin. RNG are just playing with their food.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I mean, we had to ask at the start of the game where this damage was going to come from. Well,
Mundo.
We got a very resounding answer. The answer is always Mundo. Gala.
Gala is dead. There's the burst coming out as they combo in everything. Ming falls as well. So RNG, they don't respect the CC lockdown, and they lose too. JDG just reminding them they're still a playoff team.
And they are still a team that, you know, as this game starts to go on, will have a hell of a lot of damage. Specifically, Loken as well has that Morello already completed, so we'll be kind of trying to deny a lot of this healing that Xiaohu is relying on with this build. Like, this is pretty much a drain tank build in just a different form. As Gala there, you can see, actually gets blown up very quickly. And even look, Xiaohu kind of taking wayward damage where Gala was the actual person that they wanted. He still gets dropped below half health. So you do have to be very careful with this RNG squad. You're quite brittle if you JDG end up finding you in the right spots.
Now, a great little satchel charge from Loken. Great play to kind of put Gala into the wall. Yagao is sitting around this top side, but does decide against going all in onto Cryin, as Wei did get the reset off in a minute, just over a minute until that dragon spawns. RNG do have to fight around this, but I think they're fine to fight around it as long as the first one's on the objective. If JDG can still get the poke down with the Jayce, with the Ziggs, which is still very, very powerful, they will have a chance in this fight.
It is a tall order, though, because you can see with the way that the map is spread right now, RNG just have full control. Cryin going to put pressure on towards that top side. You got super creeps that Zoom isn't really prepared for to deal with on that bottom lane. He's being fully pushed in. RNG have full control of this bot side jungle as well. So trying to pressure in on towards a potential pick from Wei, Ming, I mean, even into the hands of Xiaohu, doesn't really seem appetizing to JDG right now.
Not at the moment, and Xiaohu's still very safe. Has a massive health bar despite going full bruiser, so no real resistances. Has himself a little bit of magic resistance, a little bit of armor, but like you said, the wayward damage off to the side from the AoE you get with Loken and of course with Yagao does equal a lot of health bar depletion if you get caught by it, as we now see the Ornn finally level 15, going to be upgrading some of those items. Got the Eclipse, the Leandries, the Frostfire Gauntlet all upgraded. But I think JDG are fine to just soak in the waves. They're gaining passive gold from this. It's now, you know, slowly becoming an 8,000 gold lead. It's going to be only the first dragon for RNG, so we're not really in a position to see them getting that soul just yet. So JDG, they just got to make sure they don't lose the Baron in a minute's time or even 30 seconds time.
They also do have to be careful just with the pressure that is on the map. As we said, like Xiaohu now, cool. He's pushing in bot side. Zoom can't deal with Xiaohu. Xiaohu's a level up. He's got too many items. He will be able to just 1v1 Zoom. So you have to send 2 members to deal with Xiaohu, which means you're now opening up for Cryin, who will be in that top half of the map for this potential push coming through from the other 3 members of RNG. So it's definitely JDG, although they can try and play off towards Baron, it's so easy for RNG to push in and fall back towards that objective.
And we'll wait and see. It is a phage being picked up by Xiaohu, so again, still committing to the bit. Probably a black cleaver, if I'm being honest, to try and shred through some of that armor of Zoom. As we now see LvMao. Takes an hour to the back of the head, but he should be fine. As long as it's not to the knee, but the TP's coming in. I think they're just going for the flank. Yes, it is. Xiaohu now on the back side of this, and JDG, they're getting pinched right now. Xiaohu's still waiting to see who he can catch on to. He will jump into Yagao. Will have his health bar down to about half HP, force the flash away, but this is fine for RNG. All they wanted to do was get them away from the Baron so get to take the top.
Yeah, Cryin does manage to get that top tower, doesn't get caught up by Zoom's Call of the Forge God, so RNG do make the play, but again, you can see Xiaohu, very, very squishy, actually gets dropped to about a quarter HP just off of Yagao and a couple of wayward shots coming through from JDG, and now looking for the pick.
They're now looking for the pick. They've got 2 people in this brush. Ming is pushing forward. The Destiny Gate onto LvMao, who's by himself, nowhere to go. Solar Flare lands, but there is going to be the showstopper to start us all off. Great face breaker into Haymaker, and that's going to be JDG trying to fight this one. Wei almost taken down, but it is only LvMao who falls. That's a 1-for-0 trade for RNG.
And RNG now, they can actually turn over towards this Baron if they want to. They're going to go for the quick reset, but you still have a long death timer still on LvMao. RNG, though, trying to start pushing out towards this top side of the map, trying to get control again. Here's the TPs as they look towards the Baron.
A lot of people were seen to be resetting there, so JDG know they have a little bit of time before they have to rush into this. They know it's only being started just now. Loken not really great on the mana bar, but has a TP to get back into this fight. Cryin, though, sitting on a ward, needs to be so careful. They lock down Zoom, and Xiaohu cannot be the one to tank up this Baron. You can see it is doing significant damage as Wei jumps in, finds himself Zoom in that brush. Ming is there, no way he can really get on top of him. He has the flash available. Do they want to try and commit everything onto this Ornn? But no. Gets himself out. Good satchel charge there from Loken, but he needs to reset pretty damn soon. He's low on mana.
Still a lot of back and forth, and it will be RNG backing off of that Baron. Flash is burnt for Zoom on JDG, but again, they do deny that Baron. The waves will get an opportunity to be pushed out by the carries in JDG, and they buy time. Because honestly, here for JDG, you're just trying to hope that Loken kind of can carry these fights. It's getting to the stage where you can see Xiaohu, this mid-game focused build where he kind of plays off his AD, is starting to fall off. He's taking too much damage from JDG. You're starting to see that, hey, yeah, Cryin can make these picks, but we're starting to get away. Zoom is in a position where he can try and contest, but Xiaohu now, off on the side.
Xiaohu is around the back of this blue pit. They look to try and maybe go collapse onto JDG. Here we go. Showstopper straight away. Facebreaker does not get onto Loken, though, as they do kill off Ming straight away. Cryin using Destiny Gate, and away is the damage. The chain of corruption just corrupts everyone around on JDG. They lose 1, but they gain 5. 5-4-1. RNG get the ace, and they're going to end the game and continue their 6-game winning streak.
There's nowhere to hide for JDG. They get surrounded on all sides, and RNG pounce. And as you say, Penguin, 6-game win streak on the table.
This is just RNG climbing up the ladder. They win 2-1, taking down JDG, a fellow playoff contender. And this is RNG looking so good.
And that will put them at 7-5. That puts them right the way up. They're at +6 when it comes to games as well. So they actually
+7.
slot in. +7, yeah. So they actually slot in right the way up. They're now sitting in 5th place.
From literally what looked
10th.
like 10th, or I think they started off when they started their win streak at like 1-5. So they would have been literally about 16th, 15th. All the way up now to maybe 6th, 5th. We'll wait, of course, until the results of the day. But RNG are back, Dagda. For JDG, this little bit of a slump, this dip down is gone from 2 losses to 3 losses. They're now into the medley. They're no longer 7-5, could have been 8-5 today. They're now 7-6 with only 3 games left to play. It's looking dire right now. They can't afford to lose anymore.
Hey, and you know, where's the people who are saying, you know, maybe RNG doesn't make playoffs. Maybe they don't. Like, you can see just with how close the LPL has been this split. 1 win gets you rocketing up from 10th place. So now RNG got to be taking a big sigh of relief, knowing they've made quite a dent in that walk towards the upper echelons of our playoff bracket. But amazing game. That was so much fun to watch. Like, getting this cool Mundo build coming through from Xiaohu, a really good answer towards Zoom trying to bring out the Ornn to counteract what Mundo traditionally does. You can see the damage there. He did nearly as much as the poke Varus. That's actually insane.
It is, and it was exactly what they needed. I think with the composition that they drafted, you came up with a fantastic question. Where does the damage come from? And Xiaohu said, well, I can do it, but only to a certain minute. Like, once we get past 30 minutes and this game's still going on for 5 or 6 more, that's when JDG are able to kind of gain back the control, gain back everything. They knew they were on a timer. They knew they had to end the game before that happened, and they did.
And I know we spent a lot of time focusing on Xiaohu because obviously the funky build we saw and what he was doing, but I have to give props to Cryin. A lot of this kind of setup that was coming through was Cryin getting out of that mid lane, you know, righting the wrongs that Gala and Ming had on that bottom side where Kanavi got the 2 kills. Then playing towards Xiaohu in the top lane, setting him up for plays and dies. And as well, in these team fights, we said Xiaohu cannot be the engaged tool. It has to come down to Cryin, and consistently he was finding these good flanks, these good setups to allow RNG to get into position where they can carry these fights.
And RNG, with that win, catapult themselves right up. I believe it's 7th if my game score and loss score is correct. They are putting themselves very much in the picture. JDG go down to 10th. They are now on the cusp of not making it into playoffs. If they lose any more games, it is dire straits. And something that we just got to mention as well, with the win for RNG, Rogue Warriors are out of playoff contention. They can no longer make up the game score. They could still make up the series score, but they are still in a deficit when it comes to that. So a salute to you, my friends. You had a nice little hype train with Jake Hysterics Ozzy Penko as the conductor, but we'll have to wait and see as we just kind of come back off of this. And I'm just so surprised, and I'm going to ask my director very directly to remind me exactly where we're going from this particular moment, because I was just so engrossed with all the different table stuff because I've completely forgotten what he said to me.
So
we're waiting for MVP.
Yeah.
Got it.
Waiting for the MVP. I mean, look, we're going to be very quickly trying to get in towards obviously the EDG and WE series, but just to round this out, I think this was kind of a really cool style to see from RNG. Obviously, I think great play from JDG when it came towards the draft, and obviously Zoom on this Renekton, but we kind of got to see once again that if like Zoom is put behind in a game, it doesn't really work out for them. And if you end up in a situation where you're able to kind of counteract a lot of what JDG want to do, specifically with their composition, right? We saw that when they are on dive, they look a lot better. But when they're on these kind of games where they're looking to try and play poke, it starts to get a bit messy. And I think we saw that a little bit in this one where they are getting caught out at times where they're not quite able to deny Cryin access to the backline. They haven't got the vision control down. They didn't spot a Xiaohu on that flank. Like, there's little things like this where when JDG tried to play these long range compositions, it starts to fall apart. The safety net just isn't there. So I think RNG did a good job of identifying that and then playing to deny those trends.
Yeah, we got our MVP. Thank you so much to my director for keeping us on the straight and narrow. It is Ming who is our MVP, and honestly, thoroughly deserved. His setups were just immaculate.
Yeah, I mean, you called it a couple of times in those team fights. The face breakers were impeccable, consistently flashing in to get 3-4 members at a time. And then as well, the re-engage with the showstoppers. We talked about one was completely taking Mundo out of one of those team fights, or sorry, taking Zoom on this Ornn out of one of those team fights. And also then in that last one as well, being the primary engage tool and allowing the rest of the team to come in and follow up. So phenomenal job from Ming. And honestly, I think a pretty good game overall and a good series from Ming overall, apart from 1 or 2 missteps.
Honestly, it feels like he's fantastic, and we're gonna send it over to Wendy, who's sitting by with Gala for the winner's interview.